What's up YouTube? Awesome Yu-Gi-Oh here, and today we're here with a deck profile on Satellarknights. Of course, this is one of the brand new archetypes from Duelist Alliance. One of the better archetypes we have right now, one of the better decks we have now. Might be the best, some might argue it's the second best next to Shadows. However it may be, I wanted to show you the deck. I really like the deck, that's why I did decide to build it. And I pulled quite a good portion of this deck out of my Duelist Alliance boxes, and if you haven't seen them, go check that out. I'm going to explain some of the card choices, because I do feel like the deck, the build at least, is fairly standard, but I want to go a bit more in depth on some of these choices. So without further ado, let's get into the profile. Of course, you just have your triple Satellarknight Deneb. This is your Stratos of the deck. Searches out any of your Satellarknight monsters when it is summoned. That's really standard. You play 3 of them. Then you have Satellarknights Unukalhai. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. This is your Armageddonite. So when he's summoned, and all of these trigger upon summoning. So whether it be normal summon, flip summon, special summon, pendulum summon for for all I know. They will get their effect. And then he Foolish Burials one monster. This is probably the card you want to open with the most. It's not even going to be Deneb. You want to see Unukalhai in your opening hand to send Deneb to the graveyard, especially in the build I'm running, which has a lot of graveyard recuperation. So you can get your loop going. And you want to do that every game, each game, every turn. And that's what I really like about this deck, and some people might not like that, but I really like that. It's really consistent. It's pretty simple in what it wants to do, but I kind of like that. So 3 Unukalhai, and then you have your triple Satellarknight Altair, and this is your Wolfbark. And of course he summons. It's not really like Wolfbark when it's once prone, but he is on summon and special summons in defense position. He does have a like negative side to his effect, kinda, or let's say like a cost. If you use this effect, you can't attack with non-Satellarknight monsters or non-Satellarknights. So your Xyz would not be able to attack the turn use that effect, but that's fine. And then to round up the monster lineup, so I'm only running 10 monsters, is 1 Vega. This is your Aljedi. I don't like to run this at more than 2. I don't think you should run this at more than 1. I don't think you should run this at more than 1. If you're playing it at 2, you're going to draw it too much, and this is not a card you want to draw. This is an option you want to have in your grave to make your Delteros play 3 level 4s. And you have other options as well, just Call of the Hunted, some Deneb, and get you like Altair, and if you have something else in grave, Altair gets that back and you can get into Delteros as well. But she special summons 1 from the hand when summoned, and there are times you want to do that, but not enough to play her at more than 1. So Vega at 1. So that is 10 monsters, like I said. And that I feel like that's the perfect number. It's 25% of your deck, so most of the time you're going to see 1 or 2 monsters in your opening hand, and that's the ideal number. You don't want to see any more monsters in your hand. So to the spells, for consistency we have triple Pot of Duality and triple Upstart Goblin. So this is really familiar from the +1 Fire Fist. I was running, is it 1 or 2 formats ago? 2, I believe. Yeah, 2. 1 ban list, 2 formats, whatever. It just is great for consistency, and this deck just wants the plus of the consistency. It has 1 for 1ing and then +1ing for yourself. And I really like that kind of deck. It is kind of slow paced, you can say, but it can speed up really fast. And with these Upstarts and the Pot, both 3, you just get so much more consistency. I really like that. Then you play 2 Reinforcements of the Army. It is at 2 right now. All the 10 monsters you play are warriors, and this gives you like your 11th and 12th monster if you were not able to draw any of your combo pieces. So if your opening monster would be like just a Vega or an Altair, then you can actually use those monsters, or you can normal summon Altair. He's kind of 1700. You kind of be down with him. But that's not something you want to do. Reinforcement can get you to your Unukalhai or your Deneb, whatever you need at that point. Then 2 Soul Charge. This is one of the reasons you want to start with Unukalhai. Soul Charge isn't that expensive in this deck, because you don't need to bring back your entire grave. You can get like just pay 1,000, get back your Altair, and Altair will get you back another card from your graveyard. So that's really good. Soul Charge, of course, is a really good card. We know that. And then you can actually make those XCs, which wouldn't be able to attack because of Altair, but you can attack with Soul Charge being played anyway, so that's fine. It gives some speed to deck, like I said. If you open like Unukalhai and Soul Charge, just so good. At 2, this is fine. 3 is a bit too much, I feel like, but 2 is just a perfect number. And then to round up the spells, I play 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. I don't like this card in the main deck, but it's kind of a necessity in this format because of all the Infinity Sentence being played, and that does hurt this deck a bit when your opponent flips it on a time you do not want to see it. And it's kind of relevant in the mirror match against the Call of the Haunted as well. It's pretty good against spellbooks as well with Spellbook Tower. Spellbook is seeing quite a bit of play right now because it does have a pretty good Shaddoll matchup. So the 2 MSTs. But MST is one of the worst cards in this deck. Then to the traps, those were 12 spells, which I believe leaves us with 18 traps. I play triple of the Stellarnova Alpha, the Gladiator Beast War Chariot on steroids, however you want to call it. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you send 1 Stellarknight, 1 face-up Stellarknight from your field to the grave, and then you negate the activation and the effect of the card you destroyed, and then you're going to destroy it. And then you draw 1 card, if the negation resolves without any problems. So it is a 1-for-1, but you kind of want your stuff in the graveyard. So it's a counter trap, really strong, really powerful. It is kind of bad, of course, when you don't have any monsters. So that's the exact reason why I was really considering playing this at 2. But you do always want to see this. And if you're not having any monsters in the game, it's going to be difficult to win anyway. So 3 Stellarnova Alpha is just too strong not to play at 3 right now. Then I play triple Call of the Haunted. This is absolutely ridiculous right now for this deck. If you open Unukalhai Call of the Haunted, same thing as opening Soul Charge Call of the Haunted. If you have like Call of the Haunted and Stellarnova Alpha, the Stellarnova Alpha isn't going to cost you anything because you can like normal summon Dinette, search Unukalhai or Altair, whatever. Stellarnova, your Deneb, to negate anything your opponent is trying to do, and then in the end phase just Call of the Haunted your Deneb back to the field and get like Unukalhai, whatever. And it's just, you're plussing constantly of breaking your opponents. It's really good. I never like playing Call of the Haunted at 3, because normally it would be a bad card to open with, and it's more of a mid to late game card, but in this deck it's absolutely no problem, unless you don't see any of your monsters. Which is why I was really considering playing a Foolish Burial as well. We've already seen the spell, so you know I don't play any Foolish Burial. But Foolish Burial, definitely a really good option for this deck. I just wouldn't know what to cut, because I really feel like these 40 cards are necessarily to play this deck competitively to the best of its ability right now. So 3 call, then triple Dimensional Prison. This is really good against the mirror to TP their Deneb, because if your Deneb gets banished, you're going to have a difficult time. Of course, against Wind, that's just one of the better outs. And things actually do attack right now, so that's why I really think this right now this is a really good card. So triple Dimensional Prison, because we can play it at 3 right now. Then you have your 2 Breakthrough skill. I was thinking about bumping this to 3 as well because of Melee Winda, and it's really good against the Artifact Shadow deck that a lot of people are playing. Of course, Breakthrough Shell being able to negate a moral attack on your turn by banishing from the grave if you have already used it on like a wind or something to negate the effect of not being able to special summon more than once a turn. Really good, but 2 is enough. With the consistency you have, you're going to see it when you want to see it, so 2 is enough of those. Then you have your Compulsory, your Bottomless Trapple. I don't really like this card, but it's really good in the mirror against Deneb, so 1 Bottomless. Torrential, I despite this card, this format, but it's actually kind of good for yourself, if that makes any sense. It's not a good card against Shaddoll. It's not that good against Satellarknights, even if they try to go ham on you. But being able to send your own stuff to the grave, it's kind of helpful in some situations. And of course it can be a powerful card. So these 2 aren't as great as they could be, but they're just good traps. The 1 Solemn Warning, this is absolutely retarded. In the beginning of this format I was hearing people talking about dropping Solemn Warning, not playing it, but this just makes no sense. This card is absolutely insane. You do have to be careful with what you're going to hit, because it's really tempting when you're going first. You have your Solemn Warning set to Solemn Warning the Deneb, your opponent's normal summoning, or Solemn Warning the Mathematician Shaddoll player is summoning. You shouldn't do that, that's really bad. Because the Deneb, they actually want it in grave if they have like a Call of the Haunted, Soul Charge, or if they already have like an Altair in hand, which all are pretty good odds. You just gave away 2,000 life. There's no reason to do that. Against Mathematician, yes, they don't get their Upstart effect, but that's what Mathematician is going to do for them. Unless you have your entire field full and they are going to Black Rose you, but let them send the Velids and let them go into Black Rose before warning them. Because then at least you know the Black Rose is out of the extra deck or the Archetype Magician, whatever they're going to make. So don't be foolish with Solemn Warning. And then I played a 1 Wiretap. I kind of wanted to play 2, because Wiretap is really good against the mirror, negating that Stellarnova Alpha. Of course they do have to pay the cost, but they don't get the draw, which is really good. And it's good against Solemn Warning as well, which can kind of hurt you if your opponent is playing it correctly. And of course, if your opponent is trying to Wiretap your Stellarnova, being able to Wiretap the Wiretap is really strong. So I did really want to play this at 2 as well. I want to play Wiretap, Foolish Burial, or another Wiretap, Foolish Burial and Book of Moon as well. I really like Book of Moon as well. But I just couldn't find any room for it, so for now it's just 1 Wiretap. And then finally 2 Vanity Emptiness, because it's kind of a necessary evil, this format. Wanted to main 3 of this as well, not as much as I wanted to main any of the other cards I just mentioned, but I feel 2 game aim is enough. Not all of your matchups are going to be the Mirror or Shaddoll. Probably most of them are going to be that, or Burning Abyss. But in some rogue matchups this card could really hurt you. So I feel like 2 in the main is fine. That's it for the main deck, for the cards of course. Then for the extra deck you have your 1 Delteros. 1 is actually enough. You're not going to make 2 as much. The only time you're going to want to make 2 is when the first one gets Solemn Warninged. But I'm willing to take that risk to have some more variety in my extra deck. Exciton, Dagger Ammo, really important. You play such a low monster card, just 10 monsters. You want to be able to shuffle back your Altairs. So Dagger Ammo, really important. Don't play this recklessly. Don't let this get bottomless or a warning without you having an answer for it. Because you do need to shuffle some of your cards back if you're going to have a long game. Lavalval Chain, Diamond Dire, 1 Silent Arc, Excalibur. I really like Excalibur, to be honest. It is a warrior. It needs 2 level 4 warriors. All of your main deck monsters are warriors. And it gets up to 4,000, so it can kick over some big guys, which your opponent might have, because your main deck cards aren't that great, in power at least. So it gets over pretty much anything your opponent can make, like a Leo in your Shaddoll matchup, or Mermails if you're going to play against that Keeper of Sacred Tree Leo. I believe he's like 3100, yeah, 31. 4000 is a really big guy to put down. It can be useful sometimes. Omega. It's also if you have this like with breakthrough skill to kick over construct. Omega, really good against heavy back row, of course. Blackship of Corn. This is one of the cards which doesn't cost you anything when you summon it with Altair. So Altair, get back like Denab, add something, make your Blackship of Corn. Now you can't attack, but you're going to activate Blackship of Corn's effect to send something, and you wouldn't be able to attack anyway. So I kind of like Blackship of Corn for that reason. Starliege, Castel. This card's really good. So one Castel. In the extra deck I was kind of tight on Rune as well, because I wanted to play Gendiva, but I decided to cut that. I wanted to play a second Castel, and I kinda, but not so much, want to play a second on an Arc, but I chose to just go for the variety, have a lot of one-offs, just to have an answer in any given situation. Dweller, Cairgorgon, really good in game 2 and 3 to protect your self-lock cards from Mystical Space Typhoon, your Floodgate. Vega, Cowboy, one of those other cards which you can just alter into him and just burn for some damage. It's kind of good. But he would probably be one of the first cards I would cut. And number 80, Rhapsody and Berserk. This card's really good right now. Especially in Mirror, being able to banish those Denabs against Shaddoll, being able to banish Shaddoll Fusions. No, I don't think you can do that, by the way. Yeah, you can. Being able to banish those Shaddoll Fusions is really good. Just a good card right now, and then some tokens. Yeah, actually, tokens. Then for the side deck, One Thunder King. It is a light, so it has some synergy. But mostly it's really good against the Mirror. If you're opening with this and like 4 back row, it's really good. And like I said in the beginning of this video, sometimes during this video, spellbooks are being played a bit more right now. Of course, this card just completely shuts down spellbooks. Then Tim XC for some of the quicker paced decks, if anyone still plays those. Grand Mole, because this is the easiest out in the world against Winda. Just normal summon, bounce, and then you still have an out. You continually just have an out against the Winda in your hand is really good. That's it for the monsters. Then Floodgate, Dimensional Fissure, really good. Eyesight of Mind Control, really good in the Mirror. The third MST, because Light Imprisoning Mirror can be quite annoying, as well as Vanity's Emptiness or and Stitch and Dirge. Then Floodgate. This does hurt you, so don't flip this prematurely. You need to time Microcosmos just right. Make sure that you still have place under Cosmos, because you do kind of rely on the grave. But it hurts other decks so much more, especially when you're going first and you can set up with Microcosmos. You should win, even if it kind of hurts you. Soul Drain, because this doesn't hurt you at all, and it's really good against mostly Shaddolls. 2 Stitch and Dirge for the Mirror match. This lowers all the levels by 1. I don't actually play a rank 3 because space is kind of tight, and I feel like if you're playing a rank 3 in your extra deck, you're behind an advantage anyway, because you should play like Mega Equipped Engineer or Zen Mains, and that's just not that good. So in a Mirror match, if you can flip this before your opponent can, especially if your opponent does not have a rank 3 in their extra deck, you're probably going to win. 2 Shadow Mirror for Shaddoll and Burning Abyss. Full house because we cite so much Floodgate, and I'm pretty sure your opponent is going to do that as well against this match. This can completely destroy the Mirror match. Against Shaddoll it can be good as well, because Shaddoll can have a pretty loaded up back row as well, so full house. Just being able to blow up your own Emptiness if you want to special summon, or any of your other Floodgate cards that are in the side deck. Just blow all of those cards up, get some free MSTs out of it, and just continue to win from there on out. And then I have the third Emptiness in the side, because against Shaddoll, 3 Emptiness is kind of needed. So that's the deck. I hope I did enough explaining explaining. I hope I did enough explaining. In the comment section down below, let me know what you think of this deck. Do you like it? Because like I said, I do really like this deck. Or do you rather play like Shadow or Burning Abyss, or do you hate this format entirely and just don't want to play any of these decks or play against any of these decks? I'll be back with Yang Xing next, probably. Yeah, probably Yang Xing. So be on the lookout for that if you do like Yang Xing. Or if you also like Yang Xing. I'll see you guys with the next video. Bye!